Well, Governor Newsom put an end to the speculation yesterday and named Alex Padilla to fill Kamala Harris's Senate seat. Padilla will become the first Latino to represent California in the U.S. Senate.
Can you imagine what Mom would be thinking now as I ask you if you want to be the next U.S. Senator of the United States, the great state of California?
You serious?
This is the official, this is the ask, brother.
I'm honored, man. And I'm humbled because of them. I can't tell you how many pancakes my dad flipped or eggs he scrambled, trying to provide for us, or into the many, many years of my mom cleaning houses, doing the same thing. So I try so hard to make sure that our democracy is as inclusive in California as we built.
Political analyst Kevin Riggs of Randall Communications joining us this morning to talk about the Riggs report and talk about that pick. I'm going to guess he wasn't completely surprised that it was the ask was coming, but it still seems like it was very emotional for him.
Yeah, that's right, Deirdre. It was a smart move by the governor to release that video clip. Obviously, he was preparing to ask the question, but the response itself, as you saw, was very raw, very unscripted, very emotional, and very human. And I think for people who don't know Alex Padilla, seeing that response gives them a better sense of who he is. So again, a real human moment at a time when most politicians, we see them in very carefully choreographed settings. Certainly, the announcement, Deirdre, is in keeping with Newsom's fondness for making landmark announcements. As we know, Padilla will be the first Latino to represent California in the Senate. More Latinos in California than any other state, and more than 30% of eligible voters are, in fact, of Latino descent.
So it's interesting because he would have to run again for the Senate seat in 2 years, and videos popped up on TV like within moments of the announcement. But what would be the long-term effect of the appointment, do you think, on California politics?
Well, there's a reason why U.S. Senate seats are considered to be one of the top political prizes in America. If you, as the office holder, stay out of trouble, you stay away from scandal, if you're productive at all, a seat in the Senate is virtually a lifetime job. Padilla would be a relative youngster in the Senate. You see the advanced age of many of the senators. At age 47, he could serve literally decades in the job, as Dianne Feinstein has. She's been in the Senate for 28 years. So all of that gives Padilla enormous potential from a historical perspective to wield influence in Washington, where seniority is a prized asset.
So we expect the official announcement will happen today that the governor has picked Assemblymember Shirley Weber to replace Padilla as Secretary of State. What would she bring to that job?
Yeah, it's interesting. The governor was not able to keep a lid on that announcement. It leaked out pretty quickly yesterday. She has been very vocal, by the way, in her belief that the governor should have appointed a black woman to fill Kamala Harris's Senate seat. But Weber's background is in education. She served as a faculty member at San Diego State for more than 4 decades. She was also on the San Diego City School Board. She sits on the Elections Committee in the Assembly. She came to the Assembly in Sacramento in 2012, and she also chairs the Legislative Black Caucus. So that education background kind of dovetails nicely with the idea Secretary of State is so heavily involved in voter education and voter engagement. But yeah, next is she has to be confirmed by a majority of both the Senate and the Assembly. And as you point out, she then would have to run again for the job in just 2 years from now.
Right. Real quickly, the presidential pardon list is out, and Duncan Hunter is on it.
Very interesting. Yeah, probably not surprising. And we see presidents do this as they leave office. Duncan Hunter's case was particularly egregious because of the indictment that he had misused voter money or contributor money. But again, not surprising as a president leaves office.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it. Kevin does write a political blog, and you can always read it on the KCRA News app on Thursdays.